Hey guys, welcome back to the Final Whistle podcast. I'm your host, Luca Wilson, and today we will be covering the British GP that happened this past weekend. Um, the biggest headlines that we'll touch on are Nico Hulkenberg winning his first career podium in 200 races. Lando Norris wins the home GP for the first time. Piastri's penalty. Mercedes struggles with the strategy and an unfortunate crash, and then what's going on with Ferrari. So um, let's get into it with the predictions that I made from last episode. The What I picked for good surprise was Lewis, and I don't think it was a good surprise if he would have been on the podium. I think that it would have been a good surprise, but the fact that he wasn't on the podium, I think that you can't count that as a big surprise. Big loser, I picked Kimi Antonelli, and I think that that's correct. I think he was a big loser, just because of the crash. It's not even his fault. Um, but he got to Q3, got the three-place grid penalty, and then got caught up with Hadger. But I do think that he did lose out on this weekend. Pole, I picked Lando. That did not happen. And then my top five, I went 0 for 5. I did Oscar, Lando, Lewis, Max, and Fernando. Um, Obviously, Lando got first place, Oscar got second, and then Hulkenberg, Lewis got fourth. So, I mean, let's get into the headlines a little more. The Hulk podium, 238 races until his first podium, and doing it from P19. I mean, you got to give it up for him. Uh, Such a well-respected driver as a Ferrari fan. Lewis was fighting for that third spot, but deep down in your heart, you still want Hulk to get that podium. So I'm not mad that it happened. And starting from last on the grid, obviously Colapinto couldn't start, so I mean he was de facto last. So just got to give him so much credit for the performance that he put on. Got driver of the day. How much does that really mean? Not much, but he still did get it. And it's not like he got hand gifted it. Obviously, only 15 drivers finished, but he still had to overtake Stroll for third while Stroll was rolling too. It was before he lost at so many positions, and then he defended Lewis Hamilton for that P3. Uh, Obviously, it was only a couple tries, but he still did it, and then he pulled away from Lewis. So you just gotta give it up for Nico Hulkenberg. I also think he was the driver of the day, but also how much does that really mean? Lando wins at his home GP, first ever win at Silverstone, and now he's only 15 points behind Oscar. I mean, this championship fight is on. Obviously, it's between two teammates, um, so it's still fun. But obviously, people think like, oh, McLaren's just running away with it. But we still have a championship fight and a good one at that. Two really good drivers. And I think the good thing with Lando is he was so much more calm than he was in Austria under pressure. He wasn't stressing too much. Very calm. Max spun. Oscar got the 10-second penalty, like we'll talk about a little later. And yeah, I mean, wins his home GP. Got to be happy for him. That his reaction after the fact was really priceless, and you got to give it up for Lando for sure. And then the Piastri incident. I think the 10 seconds was a little egregious. Matt or Lewis in 21 got 10 seconds from the crash with Max, and I don't think this was as hectic or this was as just bad as it was in 21. And then Max in Spain got 10 seconds for hitting George blatantly. So I think 10 seconds was a little egregious, but I think we're seeing a little change in attitude with Oscar. Um, Asking for the swap. He knew it wasn't going to happen, but he's trying to get one ups on Lando, and I don't think it's just the teammate goody goody anymore. Just if they keep battling for the next half of the season, it's definitely going to end in some friction for sure. Not from Lando's side because I think he wants to please too many people. But I think Oscar, if Lando overtakes him at some point in the championship, it'll definitely get a little dicey. Next, Mercedes. George called his own strategy. Said that they should go on slicks. Obviously, that didn't work. And then he went too early on the slicks again and costed him. Still got 10th, but when you're fighting for second in the constructors, 10th isn't going to do too much for you. Kimmy, not his fault. Crashes 2 races in a row. First one was his fault. This one, Hadjar couldn't even see him and just got hit. I think with this weekend, I would not be surprised if Max goes to Mercedes. Honestly, he's fed up with Red Bull, and I don't know how much Mercedes is gonna keep letting George call his own shots if it's gonna end up in 10th when he starts fourth. And then Ferrari, they keep failing Hamilton. Um, just he seems so down on himself and just so down with Ferrari. It's very unfortunate, especially when it's the GOAT, and Ferrari just hasn't been able to, to just be successful lately. I mean, the big question now is, does Leclerc need to look at moving if they keep doing this to him? It's been 7 or 8 years, and he has 8 wins. Lando in 2 years has 8 wins. So, I mean, how much can you keep putting up with this, and how much of it is Leclerc's fault? How much does he need to just pick it up in general? Ferrari are failing, but still in second place. I feel like that's a big talking point. I know they're not in second place by a lot, but as a Ferrari fan, with this amount of struggle, and they're still competing for number two, I think there's positives to take with the negatives for sure. Um, just overall, it was a great race for sure. Um, and it's not like too many like talking points, obviously, just like the big ones. And then obviously one of the best parts of talking about the Grand Prix weekend is the driver ratings. So let's get right into it. McLaren boys, Lando gets a 10. Didn't really put a foot wrong all race weekend. Oscar gets a 9.5. I mean, pretty flawless weekend as well, except for the 10-second penalty. So I think he still gets a 9.5 though. Lewis, I gave him an 8.5. Was really good in practice. Had higher hopes. Qualifying, sector 3 really got him from getting pole or even just the front row, and then couldn't get Hulk at the end. So I think that's why deserves an 8.5. Charles, I gave him a 4.5. Also messed up in qualifying. Then goes onto the slicks during the race. That obviously doesn't work out. And then he starts clawing back and drifts off the track, hits Carlos as well. When you're fighting for second place, don't need your main driver battling for 13th and 14th. George, I give a 6, obviously, because he called his own strategy. It wasn't like the team told him to come in. He called everything. Still battled back to a P10, but started fourth. So not much you can really give him grace on there. Kimmy, a 5. A good qualifying, and then just crashed out of the race. So not much you can really say. Like too positive or too negative. Max, I think it was an 8 to get pole from the McLarens in a slower car. Um, and then obviously not be in first when he spun, was in second, and then battled back though. He battled back to a nice 5th place. Really a good damage limitation from him. Yuki, a 4. This dude fights for last place every weekend. Gets a 10-second penalty. It feels like every weekend. So it's hard to keep giving him grace and keep saying that Red Bull needs to keep him next year. Albon, I gave a 7.5. Made up a lot of places in the race, but if he just had a good qualifying, he wouldn't have to fight so hard to be in 8th place. Carlos, 6.5. Was in qualified better than Albon this weekend, but still finished outside of the points. Again, obviously he got hit by Charles, so a little grace, but I still think 6.5 because Carlos is such a good driver. Uh, that's not what you expect from him. Stroll, 8.5. What a strategy from him. Fighting for the podium at some points. Aston Martin did him right, but he still has to keep it on the track and race. So I really think he deserves a lot of credit. Alonso, a 7. starts seventh, finishes ninth. Just the strategy was a little weird, I think, as well. Not necessarily always all his fault, but still, I think he deserves a, 7. Gasly a 10. Uh, I think he had a top 3 weekend. Was defending Lewis for a little bit and did a great job defending George Russell. Just yeah, Gasly really proved his worth. I think he's definitely a top 10 driver. Um, I'd have to think about that a little bit, but I definitely think he's in the 8 to 12 range. But he's a great driver in my opinion. Franco, I give it NA. Not really much to say about him. Ocon, I give a 5. Crashed into his teammate. Finished one place above he qualified, and Behrman had such a good qualifying, and Ocon could not do the same. So I think a 5. It's pretty mid race. Behrman a 7.5. Obviously, practice crashes, gets a 10 place grid penalty, but then in qualifying gets up to 8th, and then gets back to 11th starting P18. So I definitely think he showed a lot of good stuff this weekend. Isaac Hadjar a 5, not good qualifying, and then that not even like a mistake, just couldn't see him and crashes into Kimmy. Just rookie stuff. Lawson crashed out on lap 1. I didn't feel like really giving him too harsh of a grade. I just did an NA. And then the man of the hour, Nico Hulkenberg, gets a 10 for me. I think he was so good. I mean, podium starting P19. Kind of already went over it a little bit, but still want to give Nico his flowers. And then Bortoletto, I give a 6.5. Also crashed because he went on the slicks too early. And you saw what Nico did, so you can't really give him anything higher than a 6. Yeah, maybe even a 6, maybe a 5.5, maybe 6.5 was a little too audacious. But yep, that's the drivers' ratings. And thank you guys for tuning in for this episode of the Silverstone GP. Next F1 episode will be the week of Belgium. We'll do predictions and a little preview, and then we might have some content in between that because there's a little 3-week gap. Maybe some NBA talk coming soon. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, comment what stuff you want to see next, and peace out.